Get it off me, get it off me. No. Actually, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. This is Mark Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as Mark Zicree of Space Command. And this was given to me at the Alien Romulus panel at Comic-Con in Hall H, with the wonderful panel that was hosted by Fede Alvarez and his wonderful cast. And at the end of it, they gave one of these to each of 6,000 members in the audience. And so I thought I would share this with you. This, is, of course, is the wonderful face hugger prop that was designed by the great H.R. Giger for Alien, and then further delineated by Ron Cobb, who was a friend of mine, who was one of the great designers on Alien and Aliens and many other films. And today we're going to talk about Alien Romulus, which is Fede Alvarez's Alien installment. And I've been looking forward to this movie for months, if not years. And I went, yesterday and sat in the chairs that move, but they don't move much anymore. They've kind of turned down the volume on the moving chairs, which is a shame because I like the moving chairs. But overall, the film is good. I recommend people see it, though I did have certain problems with it, and we'll get into those. I'll start with the positives, and there will be spoilers ahead, so, be aware. Here's the good thing about the film. It looks gorgeous. Everyone is fully committed to this film. No one is sloughing it off. No one's just kind of slumming. They went back to some of Ron Cobb's original designs that weren't used in the original Alien. Cobb was a friend of mine, and actually he provided a design for Space Command that we've utilized in our Shrikes. But he was an astonishing, brilliant designer, and it's fun to see, his work honored yet again, as it should be. Many of the designs look great. The world they show is a sort of a tip of the hat to Blade Runner at the beginning. You see the alien it's a shake and bake colony. So there's riffs relating to aliens, and the cast is young, and that's okay. I like the actress who plays Rain, the main character, and I very much like the actor who plays her brother, her sort of adoptive brother, who's a synthetic, and he's wonderful, and I really liked that relationship, because siblings, they've done mother-daughter and Alien, they've done all sorts of various relationships, but they hadn't done sister-brother, and I really liked that here. He's a synthetic, and he's a little bit mentally damaged, but very lovable and endearing, and the relationship works. And it's also fun in the fact that Alien, of course, has a lineage of androids, replicants, synthetics being in the films, and sometimes they're bad guys like Ian Holm in the original, and sometimes they're good guys like Lance Henriksen in Aliens. And in this film, they kind of split the difference, and he gets reprogrammed, and he's a bad guy for a time, but then they switch him back to his likable self, and so it's interesting and different and fresh. And I also like the fact that he's called Andy, because here's the history of all that stuff. In 1979, when Ridley Scott directed Alien, the original script by Dan O'Bannon, with a story by Dan O'Bannon and Ron Shusett, did not have an alien character. And so Walter Hill and David Giler came up with that notion of an alien a synthetic who's secretly one of the crew, and it's a Mr. X because when he attacks Ripley, we think he might be taken over by the xenomorph somehow, as he's sweating, white liquid and tries to strangle her with a rolled-up magazine. So there's a lot of Mr. X. It's a red herring, and it's kind of out of the blue, because they do not in any way set up prior to that this is a universe that has synthetic humans. But nevertheless, it's still cool, and Ian Holmes is wonderful, and but that started the naming tradition of Ash was the first one, and then Bishop was the second, and then Call was the third, and so it was ABC, and then David D as the Alien movies progressed, and then Ridley Scott sort of threw that out when it was Walter, because Walter Hill and David Giler were the producers and uncredited writers on the first film, and so forth, and so that was his tip of the hat to David Giler and Walter Hill, naming the two synthetics David and Walter in Alien Covenant. But in this film, Andy, the replicant's named Andy. Now, the fun part about that is, Ridley Scott went on after Alien to direct the great android movie, Blade Runner, based on Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. Now, in that book, they were called androids and Andes for short, but Ridley Scott felt, and I think rightly, that android was an awkward term and kind of goofy and cliche, and so he made them replicants, which was a much better name. But so I think, as a tip of the hat to Philip K. Dick calling them Andes in Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, this android is called Andy, and so I really like it. It's cute. And other things I like in the film are that they really set up the sort of terrible conditions of working in that colony. The parents die of various, variants, science fiction variants of black lung, and in accidents and so forth. And the main character Rain is expecting to be able to leave, and they up the quotas so that she's no longer eligible to leave. And so that all that stuff is very well established and well done. So this group of young people decide to take a spaceship up to a derelict space station and steal the cryo units that would be aboard the space station so that they can take the flight that will get them to a planet that isn't a hellhole. So that's the basic idea. Now they never establish how they, or maybe I missed it, how they got that spaceship in the first place. Are they stealing it? Is it, that's never really dealt with. It's just kind of get in the ship and we're flying up there. Okay. And then you have a lot of twists and turns where they encounter face huggers. They encounter, the big guy, the xenomorph, and then another creature that's sort of a cross between a xenomorph and one of the Prometheus aliens. And here's the challenge I have with the movie. Basically, half of it is a really good movie. It's got, this girl and her android brother and these other people who are sort of interesting, though not as well developed as characters as they might be, but still an engaging cast. And they try to have the face huggers be much more like a bunch of spiders chasing them, which isn't as scary as what Cameron did with the face hugger in Aliens, but c'est la vie. But that movie and the twists and turns of that movie, and they encounter basically torn up android that turns out to be a replica of Ash with a different name, and they use our wonderful CG technologies to replicate the late Ian Holm. Now, I actually liked that twist. A lot of people are kind of coming down one way or the other on it, but I liked it because for me, the eeriness of it, the uncanny valleyness of it was fine because this is an android. This is an artificial person, and so any weirdness you get off it, it was a malevolent creature anyway. So for me it worked, but I can see where for others it would be, a bridge too far. Now, so that movie I like the twists and turns and blah blah blah. What I didn't like was that as the movie goes on, it begins to feel like Alien's greatest hits from all the other movies. So you have one of the characters say, "Get away from her, you bitch," when that line really is not supported by what's happening. They haven't established that the alien is a female. It's not an alien queen. It just kind of seems like, okay, we're going to have a nod towards Sigourney Weaver, but it doesn't really work. And they have her firing her gun until it's almost empty, her rifle, and, again, another thing from Aliens. And the question really becomes, if you put in too many Easter eggs, they take you out of the movie. So you're no longer following that story and completely in it, because they're saying, okay, let's ape this and ape that and copy this and copy that. And for each viewer, that line is going to be a different line in terms of where it's too much or where it's like, oh, that's clever, that's fun. So in the end, I come out favoring this movie. The creature at the end wasn't as ludicrous as the creature in Alien Resurrection, which is a movie I like but have, again, reservations about. Though we are going to be using 2 spaceship chairs from that movie in Space Command Great Solar War, thanks to my friend Houston Huddleston. But I liked very much Kaylee Spaney, the actress in the lead. I like very much the actor playing her brother. I like the fact that she has an android brother. Those things are all great, and the visual look of it is terrific. There's variety in it, which is nice. The big guys, the xenomorphs, are not as scary as they were in Aliens, or Alien for that matter. And it could be just that we're too used to those creatures and their bag of tricks. One thing that I realized is you never see any of these xenomorphs eating. You don't know what they eat. They kill people or they cocoon them. But, it's like, well, that's interesting. But at any rate, the use of practicals is great. And, and I recommend the film. So it's worth seeing. It's very fun, and you'll have a good time with it. It's done with a lot of heart and a lot of work. And, and I'd be interested in seeing what you think of it as well. But I'm glad that sort of Alien has turned a corner. When it went into Alien versus Predator, it was kind of diminishing returns. And then when it came back to Prometheus and Covenant, although they were flawed films in many ways, Ridley Scott is a genius, and the visuals and many elements of those films are really, really fun. And Danny McBride, I think, is really terrific in Alien Covenant. I think it's one of the best things. And it was very, very funny when Ridley Scott called him and said, I want you to be in my next Alien movie. Danny McBride said, have you seen my films? So that was great. That was really fun. So anyway, so that's it for now. Please subscribe to Mr. Sci-Fi, ding the bell, comment, spread the word. If you want to come watch us shoot me a note and we can arrange that. We're building a 2-story spaceship set, which is very cool, and flying in actors from all over the world. So it's going to be a very cool month. And next Wednesday is Elaine's birthday, and next Sunday, I believe, is my birthday. We're going to be 148, which is pretty impressive, I think. And that's about it for now. So talk soon, guys. Take care. Bye.